Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friends in Recovery podcast with Jersey Ed. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my co-host, Basement Beth, Badass Beth.
It's going to be Badass Beth this week. I got questions for Miss
Strap on, Brett. Do you know what last week's show was called?
What?
Our last week's show is called Strap on Beth.
Wow. Wow. Okay. See, segues everywhere.
It is. No, I think FRI talks, I don't know, strap-ons or there it is.
Leg.
There
Do you
is her
see how
strap-on.
they make fun of me? I have a peg leg.
Listen,
Wow.
And it straps on.
if we put peg leg up there, you think anybody's going to look at it if they're scrolling through, but if we put strap on and your name after it, let's be serious.
Mhm.
God.
Tons of people listening.
Fan City.
See, we don't even know Dr. Higgins here. I didn't even introduce her, and we're talking about strap-ons, Beth. You just bring this show totally to a complete area. Anyways, I'd like to introduce our guest, just this week's topic. It's Dr. Higgins. She's the CEO of Wired for Addiction, and we're going to find out more information about why she's on here, because I don't even know why, but we'll figure it out. I'm just kidding.
It's good stuff, Ed.
That's right. So stay tuned for some amazing recovery. Now, guys, I'm just kidding. That is not Dr. Higgins. Okay. That is our new intern. Welcome, new intern.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me a job.
Oh, you're going to love to pay for this one. So ask Bambi. We just doubled her salary. Actually, I tripled it the other day.
Yeah, she's going to go get some flower bulbs with.
Exactly. So no, but we are looking for that podcast intern, guys. So if anybody wants to, Dr. Higgins is not our podcast intern, not yet. Anyways, I'm working on her. She's our guest today. So, but please, if you're interested in that internship, please give us a call. At 800-989-6504 or email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. And if you want to see what we're about, hit our website up at friendsandrecoverycommunity.org. And then emails underneath, you'll see mine and Beth's email. You can directly email us at those email addresses. Beth, what month is it? Courage Month. Yes, it is. It is Courage Month. So we just want to let the listeners and viewers know that it is Courage Month. So we are going to kind of gear our questions kind of towards courage, Evelyn. If not, then it's okay. If you know what it is. But it took courage for you to come on to this show with Beth and I.
And get a job out of it.
Yeah, get a job. But that's right. I like that. So if anybody has the courage to call the hotline or email us that you want to be the intern, it's going to change your life, right? Usually after you get the courage to do something, it's life-changing experiences.
Yep.
There you go. Who's going to step up, right, Beth?
True.
Nobody so far. So I just remind everybody that Beth is with Black Hearts today. Dr. Higgins, Evelyn has red hearts, and myself, blue hearts. Please give us in the comments, like our hearts. I mean, like, subscribe, share, 5-star review, all that stuff. But most important, in the comments, give us a heart. Put a bunch of hearts in the comments and tell us how you like the show. And let's hear some red hearts for Dr. Higgins. And let's give her some love this week. But I do want to talk about Bambi real quick.
Yeah.
As you can see, she's not with us. She's been up and down, in and out of here. Just some personal stuff going on, and she's openly talked about it in the show in the past.
Yep.
So she's with her brother right now, spending some time, and she couldn't do it last minute. She couldn't do the show. So if you guys can keep Chuck and Bambi and everybody in Bambi's family and their prayers. We'd appreciate it, or your thoughts, however you want to do it. She just needs some good stuff kind of going over to her because she's going
Good
through a rough.
vibes.
Yeah. So that we appreciate. And you know what? Give her some Purple Hearts. You know I am anti Purple Heart.
Yeah, usually. Today's okay, man. Send
Today
in the
is
Purple
okay.
Hearts.
Yeah, send some Purple Hearts. She gets them anyways, but we'll give it to her.
We'll just take credit for them.
That's right. Yes, we'll give her credit for it this week. Listen, Evelyn, you can hit that little end button anytime you want. Okay. Nobody will ever know that. Just feel free to hit that end button anytime you want. I'd like to thank all of our donors for making this show possible. And don't forget, Friends in Recovery Podcast is part of the Fire Network now. So for more information on the Fire Network, go to friendsinrecoverycommunity.org and you'll see information on the Fire Network. And basically what the Fire Network is, it's just a bunch of people who are doing what we're doing, podcasts, what we're, anything that's creative that, you're in the media type thing. We would love to put you on our website. And what what FIRE stands for is Friends in Recovery Enterprises. And that's, we want to start building this big network up of people who you can go listen to. Because let's face it, guys, Friends in Recovery's podcast is the best show out there, but we're not the only show, right?
True.
So, after you're done listening to every almost 300 episodes, then you can go on to the next podcast.
Go to Soberpod.
Soberpod, I like that. So we're going to get into the sober shout outs now, and we can shout out to Carl and everybody for sober shout outs, but I'm going to start with our guest because she's still here. She didn't leave yet. And let's get a sober shout out for her before she leaves.
This is courage.
This is courage. Absolutely. So, Evelyn, do you have any sober shout outs today?
Yeah, I want to give a sober shout out to Christopher McNeese. Just spoke to him earlier today.
All right, Christopher, congratulations. And Beth, how about you?
I have a sober shout out for my son.
All right, son.
Today is April 3rd is his birthday. So we're recording on April 3rd.
Yes, we are.
He's 17 today.
Oh my God. Wow. 17.
Yep. One more year and he can vote and fight for his country.
That's it. Now he just fights with mom and has no
Pretty
vote.
much. Usually just his sister. He doesn't fight with me. Just fights with his sister.
Okay. All right. So, Chris and son, does the son, do you call him son or was that when he was born?
His name
what's his name?
Ben.
Ben. All right. Ben the son. All right. Happy birthday. Happy 17th.
Happy birthday, Ben.
And that's a driver's license birthday in New Jersey only, I think. I think New Jersey's, that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not like
Pennsylvania, nope. 16. Everybody's 16. Yeah. Florida, I believe, is 16.
Wow.
South Carolina. I think New Jersey is the only state that has a 17-year-old driver's license policy.
Well, we are New Jersey, so I mean,
yes.
It makes sense. I'm surprised it's not 21.
With a restricted license at 21, you can only drive from dawn till dusk. But you have to pay taxes, out of the whatever. It'll be nice. Anyways, and then my sober shout, of course, guys. I can't be original. It has to be Soberpod, of course. Carl and Chelsea. I was listening to their show. I forgot what it was called, but they have some pretty cool show names. I gotta copy some shit off of Carl, but please go listen to Carl over at Soberpod. And Chelsea, they have a great show. And if you guys want to kind of mention our names over there, mention it. Start flooding them. They have this thing real quick, and we'll get to the rest of the show. But they have this thing. You go on their website or whatever it is, and you click a button on it, and you can record up to I don't think it's a minute. I want you guys to record everything about Friends in Recovery. Go on the show, listen to it, and then go click on that button where he tells you to click on it, and just tell Carl how great Friends in Recovery is. Okay, just tell him that we sent you to do it. And Beth will take the blame for it. So, but he doesn't have your cell phone number yet. So, got a quick. That's right. A quick meeting update. So, and social media update. Don't forget, we have twice daily AA meetings on Zoom. You can find them on our website again, friendsandrecoverycommunity.org. Please check that out if you're looking for a meeting. And also look for us on all of our social media under Friends and Recovery Communities. So here it is. This is what we've been waiting for. It is time for
Question of the week.
Question of the week.
Here it is, guys. Question. This is a big part of the show. Okay, nobody realizes that. And the question of the week, guys, is: are my actions guided by love or fear? Are my actions guided by love or fear? I love this because this is a courage month, so we have to talk about. It's true though, and I think we lean heavy on one side or the other. I'll be honest with you. I know I do, but I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, I'm going to go with Evelyn. What's your thoughts on this? Are your actions guided by love or fear?
Terrific question, because that's such a determining factor for how our life plays out. If we're constantly living in fear 24/7, it's going to show in every aspect of our life. If we're more towards the other side, living out of love, that's also going to show in every aspect of our life. So we probably dabble in both. We can kind of spend our time on the love end of things. What we put out is what we're going to get back.
Amen.
Yeah. The world works, right?
Yep.
And everybody's going to be better with you being that pivot man. Everybody's going to be better because of it.
Love that answer. That's a great answer. That's exactly how life is supposed to be. Now, do you take insurance? Can you give me a call after this? I can talk to you and something to. Just kidding.
Intern. I got so many jobs going on.
I listen. I need a pool boy soon, so you fit that description.
I'm putting in my 2-week notice. That's it.
There you go. See, we hired her already, Beth. So there you go.
Awesome.
All right, Beth. What do you primarily live in? Love or fear?
Today I live in love,
Okay.
but that my core and my nature is fear, 100% fear. And it still pops up. I wanted to kind of share this because, that fear, when major decisions pop up, fear is still where my core goes. And because I work program, I'll run it by people and how do I put this? I think that in a very non-alcoholic and very human way, yes, there are still decisions I make in my life that are maybe not I guess technically they're based in fear, but they're really based in not willing to take a risk. And I think that that's actually recovery itself, right? As I was a bit of a risk taker when I was drinking. So I think that, so I work really hard to make my decisions out of love, but my initial reaction is usually out of fear.
I have to agree with you on that. I mean, I have to agree with both you ladies. I mean, you're have to agree, both of you ladies. But I think if we step back way back, fear was what we ran on when we were cavemen, when we had to run away from dinosaurs and bad things and all that. So fear was that driven thing that we had to have. It was for survival. But today, we don't really need, I shouldn't say we don't really need that, but we don't need it as much as we used to. It's used a little differently today. But I can't seem to unwire myself with that fear. I really can't. I mean, it's always good to have a healthy amount of fear, and make sure, fear, is this coffee too hot? Oh, I'll go suck it down. Oh, fear is like, oh, is it hot? Is it not? And then, but the love part, I mean, I am a loving human being, and I wish I can balance that out. I wish I could have more love than fear. I'll be honest with you. And I work a program. I have all these years sober. I run on fear. It sucks. I mean, I don't run on fear to where it cripples me, but I think it has a little bit more fear than love. But I can bring that love out and I can get rid of that fear. Right. But it bothers me. I think that's what this question, when Stacy sent it over to me, I was like, I ain't fucking answering that. And I'm like, whoa, what's up with that? Right. Like,
Fear.
why would I say that?
Yeah.
So that's, that we're definitely had to talk about that. But yeah, it is what it is, also the way we're brought up, how we're taught,
Right.
how you do things. But here's the thing. You said risk taking, right? It's always good to take a risk. I mean, not risky risks, but opening a new business, starting a new job, talking on a podcast. This is right here. This is a risk taking thing. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go, what's going to happen with it. With Evelyn, she might hit that leave button, and me and Beth will be like, oh, now what did we talk about?
Uh-oh.
But that's the risk, you know what I mean? But that helps me jump into those things. Maybe, I feel that fear, having a little bit more fear, helps me jump into the things I normally wouldn't jump into, like ultra marathons, 100-mile kayaks down the river, cold plunges every morning, you name it. That kind of pushes me to do that too. So that's my long answer to a short question. So anyways, that's enough about me. Let's find out more about Dr. Higgins. She is the CEO of Wired for Addiction. And I believe you are located in Florida somewhere, but you have a New York accent. That sounds like New York. Okay, right? I mean, to me, it does anyways. So
No, originally from New York.
Originally from New York. So Dr. Higgins is from New York originally. I know she's down in Florida now. And like I said, the CEO for Wired for Addiction. So Doc, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with us and kind of and Bambi not being here to tame the lions down. Usually it doesn't go this chaotic. But
yes, it does.
That's true. We overpower Bambi. So, but Doc, so what is Wired for Addiction, and tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So we're a company that looks at the biology of mental health and addiction. So
Okay.
we actually measure biomarkers related to mental health and addiction. So we look at neurotransmitters, hormones, and something called science words. So everybody just hold on for 1 second. Polymorphisms, single nucleotide polymorphisms. All that means is when there's an error in someone's genetic coding.
Oh.
Those errors create just what you guys are talking about here, aberrant behavior. That's things like risk-taking, impulse control, addiction, anxiety, depression. So we measure all those things. We isolate, we identify, we measure, and see where someone's at and what your predisposition for this is. In perfect world, we do this early in our lives. We know what we have more of a predisposition for, and then we still all have free will, but we can make changes with that knowledge.
So you say we do this early in our lives. What is this? I mean, what are you talking about when you say this?
I did a TED talk. It's called Understanding the Biomarkers of Addiction. And in that I said, if in your youth, you knew you had a predisposition towards addiction, would you make different decisions knowing that information? Right?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. No.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like we all still have free will.
Yeah.
Right. So some people in their genes, they've got more cancers in their family. Some people more, cardiac disease, whatever the case is. So with that information, we look up, we look at all the biochemical pathways, what's related to this individual, and then we create what we call a biomarker evaluation report, where we then can go and support each area that's where we have less than optimal working of these pathways. So everything is based on objective data.
Okay. Well, let's get back to what I said when I said no. I'm just trying to go over this question in my head. So my mom goes in, Mrs. Chancho walks into your office, knocks on your door. My son's 13. He's drinking. What can we do for him? I mean, so we test him and then we go, there's something going on. Okay, Ed, stop drinking. Well, no, that's not going to happen.
That, right? Yeah, that's kind of like the duh. Anybody would do that, but it doesn't work that way, or else nobody would be in the situations that they're in, right?
Yeah.
But the first thing is to identify where the problems are. Once we know that, then we support that.
Okay.
it's not just somebody who's young. I mean, we have patients from 2 to 98 years old.
Wow.
I'm just talking about, the optimistic view of, would that be a game changer for you? You start, your buddies are after school. Hey, this is what we're going to do. You want to come with us? Why do some of your buddies the next day say, no, man, I'm cool, I'm good? And you're like, no, I want to do this again. Because you've got this. You've got these genetic predispositions.
So, okay, Beth, were you going to say something?
No, I think it's really interesting because, Ed, you say that you would still choose to do what you did. Yet me and my husband are both in long-term recovery. Both of my kids know that. And both of them are very cautious about what they put in their body. My son, up until he was 8 or 9, refused to, I'd have to force Advil on him. It's not.
Well, yes, and I agree with you on that because our daughter does the same thing. Who's the last one in the house.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't have the addictive mind, because
right, and that's. I mean, I kind of want to get both of my kids markered, right, for lack of a better word, because it's do they have to worry? Should they worry? Because they worry, and are they needlessly worried? So, what does it look like? What does the process look like?
It's a DNA buccal swab just in your cheek.
Okay.
And that's the sample. And then we get that back 2.5, 3 weeks later. From there, we create a really lengthy report that goes over every one of those biomarkers, what they mean, what clinical correlations they have, and if they need to be supported, how we're going to support them. And so much like Ed, you said, yeah, I'd still do it. As you know, so many people really are working with co-occurring disorders. They may not be diagnosed, or they may be diagnosed incorrectly. So no one's like, let me go just, wake up and have the shittiest day of my life and just mess everything up. It's like, what's going on that's creating that thought process to begin with, right?
And you can do all of that with a swab.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah. I know.
Why is this not part of our pediatricians?
Yeah.
This is always what people say, right? This is what they say. They're like, this should be baseline for everybody. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Just like a CBC, you go to the doctor yearly, we're going to do a complete blood count. How many white blood cells? How many red blood cells? This may be even more powerful information of a general, where am I at? And what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And we are at this time where here's another one of my soapbox things, because we have an inequity in this part of healthcare, because the 100%. mentality is, you got yourself there, now you can get yourself out there. But every other, we would never talk to a diabetic that way. Right. We would never talk to somebody with cancer that way. Yet within the addiction space, somehow it's okay to still beat the stick, right? So that's where it all starts. We're just kind of good luck. We're not going to use technology. And that's one of the things I talk about. It's it's 2023. We need to be using technology to advance this area of healthcare as well.
Yeah. Well, you also said mental health too. Yep. So anxiety, depression, that caught my thing. Anxiety runs a little bit high once in a while for me. Depression, not so much. I know how to get out of that. The anxiety, I don't know how to get out of. But but that would even be good for people like us in recovery. How
100%.
Kind of give us a whole makeup of, we know we're addicted, but how can I get this? What do I do as far as, for anxiety? What do I do for depression? Is it food? Is it that
exactly.
the whole, so that would be another way, right? You can use it.
Exactly. And we optimize everybody. It's we all know that addiction is a biopsychosocial disease, right? It's a triangle. Yet the biology part, we're like, okay, maybe eat these foods, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep, make sure you drink a lot of water, all those things that are obvious lifestyle choices. But the physiology part, we just let everybody run on their own because of you got yourself here, get yourself out.
Yeah. Behavioral health is okay, man.
It's really sad because so many people in recovery programs, whether they be 12-step smart recovery, refuge recovery, all of it, they're told this message that all your answers are right here. And if this can't solve your problem, it's not a problem. And that's just not true.
No.
Correct.
It's 100% exactly against what the actual, it says in the big book,
right.
That, psychiatrists and these people are medical professionals and we need to go see them and listen to them.
Right, right. Even to the point of stigma, right? So if you identify, and everybody has something in their DNA, nobody comes out just perfect and, I'm never going to die of anything. So there's a stigma still attached because we're not looking at it like a disease. We're just doing the, willy-nilly, hey, this is how you choose to be today. And it removes a stigma when you can say factually, here are biomarkers. And I can't tell you the amount of people that actually cry and the families all of a sudden say, I get this. This makes sense.
So what are you talking about when you say the families understand it and makes sense? Can you go into that a little bit more? Because with the addiction, it doesn't make sense to any of my family members unless they're in Al-Anon or going to a family program. Then they start educating. But mental health, I mean, even mental health, how can that make sense to people?
So every one of our neurotransmitters, our brain chemicals, everything has a clinical correlation, right? So whether it be too little or too much, it has a clinical correlation of how it makes us act and think. First we think, therefore we act after that. So, somebody could tell me nothing about their background, and because this is objective data, I could say, so this, and this, and they look at me like, I cannot believe it. You just nailed who I am across the board, because that's what it's going to have you do.
So you can have somebody sit in your office, do the swab, walk out without saying anything. 3 weeks later, sit back in your office. You could say this, and this, and you're going to pretty much get it.
Yep.
Somewhat accurate or mostly accurate.
Mostly accurate. Yes.
Mostly accurate. Okay. I mean, there's always room for improvement on everything, or there's always room for error on everything. So, but explain that, I don't understand, how does it do, what are you guys doing? I mean, I know you said some fancy words at the beginning, but explain a little bit more in detail what that test does and, kind of what looks for and where to find it in your body.
So with the advances of science, we now can look at these things called SNPs, or single nucleotide polymorphisms.
And I had to ask, right, Beth?
Right.
So I'm like, wait, what did she just say?
Polymorphism.
Morphism,
Right.
Again.
So
polymorphic.
Once we came up with being able to map out genetic code, right? 2003, that became possible. Map out the genetic coding. 2008, looked at the 1,000 most important genes related to diseases and conditions. From there, we've just continued to advance of what we could measure, what was measurable objectively. So with these, we can isolate them. We can identify them. We can measure them. From there, we can then see where someone is having less than optimal reaction going on. And it is the age, if you will, of precision medicine, but we're not treating it that way.
Yeah,
right. You're going to your doctor, and it sounds like, first off, how should we be diagnosing somebody based on vocabulary? What if you and I don't have the same vocabulary words that we use? You're going to walk out with a different prescription because of the words that you use versus the words that I use.
Yeah.
Right? So just start right there.
Yep.
And that's how we're still doing things. We're practicing as if it's 1950, as if it's 1970, 1990, when it's 2023. And again, it goes back to, you got yourself here, figure it out.
Well, don't you feel, okay, Beth.
No, go ahead, Ed, go ahead.
This is a question, both of you ladies. Beth, you being in recovery long-term, and Evelyn, you being, I know I'm going back from Evelyn to Dr. Higgins. I don't know just what I do, but Evelyn, you being kind of the scientific side, what the question was going to be again? How do I know it's going to be? All right. Geez, my mind is going in 16 different directions.
It's a big topic.
It is. I mean, it's all over. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Beth. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You I'm just trying to put my thoughts together.
Okay,
I just can't remember.
So, okay. It's 2023. I really do. And I think this is the optimist in me. COVID brought us and brought mental health out of the doghouse. And it is now way more socially acceptable to seek mental health treatment.
Right.
it's got to be only a matter of time before people, because I mean, if you look at even just SSRIs, it's like, oh, this is how you're feeling. It's like you're sitting in a dark room and somebody opens the door and throws some drugs at you and says, let's see how this works.
Yep.
And I'm totally transparent about who I am as a human being, but like, I have major depressive disorder. I've been on Wellbutrin since 2000. I went off for a couple of years because I had babies and all that stuff. So a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with anxiety, right, on top of the depression, which is so much fun. I just want to let you all know. You should totally try it. And they put me on Prozac, and nothing against Prozac, but my molecular makeup, I literally called my boss. Thank God I work in the mental health field. I literally called my boss and I said, Jane, I can't get off the couch. I can't stop vibrating. And I can't even force one thought into my head, little. And she said, just call it a day, Beth, take the day. And it took me 2 weeks to get off of it. And then they got me on something else that works. But it's like, it can't be much longer before at least solid psychiatrists, right? Like not even the laymen out there who are getting guinea pigged all the time.
Right.
But solid psychiatrists, like what is it going to take? Like, what do we need to do to get this into psychiatrists' hands and willing to use it?
Before you answer that, I want to piggyback off your question, and because I kind of know what you're going to say, but also I go see a psychiatrist too, right? And I know a couple of people they have to say, okay, well, we'll try this dose, we'll try that dose, we'll try this dose, we'll try that. So there you go. You segue into what you're going to say.
Perfect tee up, Ed, because both of you just brought great banter there to talk about. There's one of the genes that we look at that will tell us if an SSRI is even going to do anything in a good way for you. So how many times has someone been on the SSRI merry-go-round of try this one? Okay, half it, double it. No, that doesn't work. Try this one. Now, let's see how long that goes on, that it doesn't need to go on for, because none of this has been looked at. Start there. But then what does that do to somebody emotionally?
Yeah. You
start to believe this is all me. I don't want to be better. I'm the problem, right? It's 100% right there. And I can't tell you how often we look at somebody and we see their serotonin is like in the tank, not even anywhere close to where it should be. And they've been on SSRI for 10, 15, 20 years. So first off, SSRIs weren't even designed for that. They were designed for acute situations, not for chronic life. Right? And they have no serotonin. It's like, so first off, that did nothing for you. So this whole guess thing should be eliminated. And
absolutely.
It's people's lives.
Yeah. So I like how you said it should be eliminated. Now, a couple things. Let me ask you this. Psychiatrists, the more you come see them, the more money they make, and it's okay to make a living. The pharma companies, more that you prescribe, the more okay. Well, let's Wellbutrin. I had a try we were going to do it for what you call for I can't even think for so I can focus a little more. So yeah, it's not
ADHD?
Working. Yeah, ADHD. Yeah. So I tried 150. We started at 300 was good. 400 we went up to, for whatever it was too much. I was getting way too anxiety. But that span, like you were saying, Evelyn, was over 3 months, right? So now I'm in the field where I understand this. Beth, you are, so are you, Evelyn. But what about the person that's a mail carrier? What about the person that that's a CEO of a company that has no idea what the hell goes on? And to me, I'm the successful CEO of a fucking company, but I can't even think straight. They're putting me on all these medicines and it's not working. I must be fucked up, right?
Right. So what does that person do? We'll just do the ADHD example. What does that person do? You're still taking your meds. You still can't think. You're like, self-medicate. I'm going to go home and have 1 million beers because that slows my brain down,
Bad idea.
Yeah. And that's
bad idea.
Right. Now you take the meds and you do that, but that's what people are doing. They're self-medicating because it's not been diagnosed correctly, not been treated correctly.
Yeah.
So how do we go about doing this?
Yes,
Like, how do we
good
get in
question.
touch with you? How do we like set
Sure.
up a task? Because I got to tell you, man, I got insurance.
Sure. So our website is Wired for Addiction, all spelled out, Wired for Addiction. Go on there, take a look at everything. We work with individuals, we work with treatment centers, we work with providers. We're even in the criminal justice system. We
Wow.
treat people in prisons.
Wow.
That's a whole nother conversation. It's like you've been in prison for X amount of time. Now you come out and nothing's been optimized in your physiology. Going to be right back.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody loses, regardless of where you sit politically and all that junk. Everybody loses at the end of that. So yeah, come to our website, Wired for Addiction, check everything out. We even do 15-minute consultations just to say, tell me your story, what's going on, and is this something for you? Is this going to help you or not, or send you in the right direction?
Is it covered under insurance or?
It currently is not yet. However, we had a very large insurance carrier come to us to ask us to do a pilot because they say we want to show the efficacy of this.
Oh, wow.
And and they came to us. So
that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they know at the end of it, they're actually going to save money.
Yeah. I mean, the insurance
they're about, right?
companies, if you think about it, the insurance companies are the anti-pharmaceuticals.
Right.
Because the insurance companies are paying. So, I mean, it makes sense that the insurance company, and what an honor that they sought you out.
Yeah, that's big. And Ed, like you said, well, what about, a psychiatrist or somebody who's like, hey, wait a minute, this is my job, that kind of thing. There's more than enough, as Beth said in the beginning, and somewhere towards the beginning of with COVID, and now it's taken this stigma off of mental health, and we have these open conversations. Any provider, any clinician knows there is more business than they can handle if you see it as business.
I say it almost every single day. There's no shortage of people in this country alone that are needing help. And listen, even if you take out, and I hate saying this, even if you take out the indigent and Medicaid, there is still plenty of people. There's no shortage of appropriately covered insurance population that's seeking help.
Absolutely. So they actually win then, because they're like, it's another tool in my toolbox. I have my patient who actually is on the right road now. Okay, good. Yeah. It's a good thing.
This is exciting.
It is. It's pretty cool. So you talked about, what you do, how you do it, where you do it, with who you do it, and why it needs to be done. But the question is how did this start? Like, did you invent this? Did you come up with this? Is this you said it's your company.
Yep.
So are you like how much smarter than Beth and I put together times 1,000 are you? That's what I'm asking. Really.
A lot.
I know. Like, I think my mind went blank because I'm like, this chick is fucking smart, and I better come up with some good fucking questions.
Hey, but I still want the intern job.
There you go.
So yeah, I did come up with this process. It's patent pending right now. 35 years practiced in disability and pain management, and saw that people were just being prescribed, here, try this, try that, just what we were talking about earlier, and not getting the results. That's 35 years ago. First they're dependent, then they're addicted. Then 20 years, I'm in a rural area at the time, then I'm in an urban area. I'm seeing the exact same pattern, but I'm seeing the addiction happening faster and faster and faster.
Wow.
I also married an alcoholic. So personally, I was involved. A year after we had a child, found out that my husband was adopted. Now I was like, okay, there's some answers that we need. What do I have to know for my own child for her to have a successful life? And that was everything kind of grew and grew and grew and grew and grew.
That's so interesting. Yeah, my husband's adopted too. Like, we have no idea what's on that side.
Right.
Nothing. We have zero information.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably see a lot of adoption agencies coming up with this. Or now, how old do you have to be to take this test? Maybe we can start with that.
Yeah, our youngest patient we've had is 2. Our oldest is 98.
Okay.
There's no, too young kind of thing, because your DNA is your DNA. as you guys may or may not know, it's like, here's your cards, play it out. This is your DNA. And somebody say, well, how come I never saw this addictive behavior until they were 30? Because the same stressors of life ever presented to turn those genes on. That's the whole field of epigenetics, where we now know we can turn genes on, turn them off, dependent on everything that's happening around us. And this is fascinating. I mean, I think this is
seriously, Evelyn, you are 1,000 times smarter than us. Holy shit. You can wait. So you're saying, because I got sober when I was 17, right? I was no old lady when I got sober. So you're saying that the addiction gene is there and it gets turned on by outside stressors, which makes so much sense.
Correct.
In my head from my own story.
Right. And it's not just one gene, it's how the genes interact with each other.
Jesus.
And exactly that. So you don't have those stressors yet. Your DNA is still the same, but the situation doesn't prevent it to say, whoop, 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 whoop. This is what's going on. Red alert.
Red alert. So, okay. So let's say I get this test done on my 2-year-old. Like, what does the results look like? Like, do you give me like a pad of paper that says, seriously, Beth, do not let this child.
31-page report like this. And we go over every single biomarker there. So you understand exactly what's going on and what you need to be aware of.
Oh my God.
What you may be already seeing. Like, I've had some patients that had addictions, and they're like, my kid's 12, not using anything yet, but I'm already seeing the behavior stuff.
Oh yeah. I was seeing behaviors when they like popped out.
I'm seeing different things already. So I want to get my kid, tested, and that's good stuff.
Well, let me ask you this. And Beth brought this up, and as you're speaking, from 2 to 98, you said that's kind of your kind of wheelhouse now. What does the outside stresses, what does the outside world have to do with playing in this? Because a lot of it I I bring some of these stressors on myself, some of this anxiety on myself, that I don't have to. Either I put myself in a situation I shouldn't be in, or nothing bad, but just either a thought or whatever. Oh, I shouldn't have took a left here because now traffic should have took a right. I mean, you're talking, little things pile up. We always say that little bucket. Right. So can that affect the DNA, or can that affect the way this test comes out?
The test will come out the way your DNA reads.
Okay.
Right? So that's not shifted by outside stressors, the addiction, or the dis-ease is.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why you turned into an alcoholic at 30 and I turned into an alcoholic at 4. That's what I'm getting from that. Is that the outside stressors make the genes interact with each other in the specific way that's necessary to become alcoholic, to become
this thing that's inside of you.
Right, whether it's anxiety or alcoholism, drug addiction, sex addiction, whatever.
Exactly. And that's a great point, because it brings into the other addictions too. It's just that, gambling, sex, pornography, shopping, eating, it's what that self-medication that you reached for at whatever age in your life that pacified you becomes that go-to for you, right?
And let me ask you this. So if it's mental health, if it's substance abuse, what about eating disorder? Can you do anything with an eating disorder?
Absolutely. Because we're looking at the same biomarkers. Yeah. It's just for that individual, whatever was going on in their life at that time, that became their self-medication, and that was their go-to.
Okay.
Because can you see the difference between this one has the potential to be an alcoholic and this one has the potential to have an eating disorder?
Not really.
Okay. That there's something there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm a firm believer, and I think, I shouldn't say everybody, and I have no information to back this except from my own experience. I think sugar is our first addiction.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you take medicine when you're a
100%.
kid, there's sugar in it. You get a
Yep.
treat, you do something
Yep.
well, here's this, sugar,
Yep.
sugar. And everybody's like, well, why are we all addicted to sugar? Because you started me when I'm fucking 2 years old that,
Yep.
Easter's coming up. I mean,
Yep.
you Jews don't talk about Easter, but Beth, but I'm sorry if you're Jewish. I don't know if you're Jewish, not Evelyn, but
No.
okay.
No.
All right.
Jelly beans.
So you guys don't have Easter, but us Catholics who are guilted to eat the whole fucking basket of sugar.
You were
And wash it down with the
candy. Really?
Exactly. But
I may
sugar,
have been guilted
sugar
to finish the eggs, but nobody guilted me into that candy, man.
Yeah. No, it is an addiction in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about people that can't stop. You think about the
Right.
obesity epidemic, right?
Absolutely.
Dude, there's sugar in bread.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In
It's insane.
over-the-counter bread. I don't know why I just called it over-the-counter bread.
Children's Tylenol. And you were like, you give me the medicine when I'm 2. Children's
Yeah.
Tylenol, the grape, that's all
As
sugar.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all sugar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I gotta tell you, there's a part of me that's like, okay, maybe that's like somewhat a necessity because no kid's gonna take
Yeah, take it.
Tylenol the second time. But why is it bad?
Yeah.
It doesn't taste sweet.
No.
It's-
Yeah, well,
But it's their way of just shoving sugar in everything you
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and again, I know we're going all a little off the subject here with the sugar, but I from what I was told, the government subsidizes sugar, the making of sugar, because let's be serious, all this crap that we sell and put sugar in makes the world go round. When you make the world go round, you're buying stuff, you're paying taxes, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a nonstop, whatever. But anyways, back to our subject here. So, so the outside stressors. So if I take Ed at 2 years old, I go see you and doc, you give me that test. Then I come see you at 98 years old.
Mhm.
Is my same makeup going to show the same way, or because of the stress, the alcoholism, the bad situations I was in, I run a lot, I eat sometimes not healthy, I maybe have too much more ice cream, whatever it is that going to show differently when I'm 98?
The SNP part of it will remain the same. It's the expression that changes. The neurotransmitters, the hormones, we'll see differences. We do pre, we do post, we do sometimes testing in between. Those we'll see the differences of where somebody was off the chart here and off the chart high and come into the middle, and that's where they're living.
Okay.
Dude, what a great way to see your progress.
Oh yeah.
What a
Absolutely.
great way to say, yeah, you may not feel it yet, or you need to change your behaviors because your levels have shifted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
isn't
people
usually.
symptomatically, they always know. I
Mhm.
mean,
Oh yeah, I'm just
life becomes easier.
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, again,
life easier would be really nice.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all need a
And
little-
people don't
little
know how bad they
easier.
feel until they feel better, and just assume
they feel-
everybody feels that bad. They're like,
Mhm.
doesn't everybody feel this way? I'm like, no, they don't. That's you. And now that you feel better, you're like, wow, how did I live that other way?
So they come to you, take the test, you sit down with them. This is what we need to do to adjust
Yeah.
it here, there,
Yeah.
and there. Do they go back to a therapist? Do they go to a psychiatrist? How do they get medication? How do they come off it? How do they go on it? What's
Sure.
the next step after?
Sure. So we either can do the lab portion here, go work with whomever you're already working with. If say they're in a treatment center, you keep on with all your staff, you're working there, they just have all this new information, right? If it's an individual that comes to us and wants treatment as well, we work with someone over a 6-month period of time. We have people literally from all over the world. We meet virtually and we follow the progress through the treatment.
Okay. So that answers Cole's question. Does she ever come to Massachusetts? So Cole can call you, set up a teleconference or whatever.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
good. And then, I guess, what's the outcome studies of all this? I mean, obviously, all this information, there has to be some studies done that, is it working, isn't working? What's the percentage of it? Because I know with us as AA people, as recovering people, we have about a 30% chance of staying sober. Now that's a 60 or 70% chance of us going back out again. You have to work your program, you have to get whatever it is. And can that increase our chances to stay sober?
Absolutely can increase your chance of staying sober. We have all white papers on the website too. People can take a look at of studies and that kind of stuff. But yes, absolutely. Because it's that even when someone is sober, they'll say to me, I'm white knuckling it.
Mm.
am white knuckling to hang on today. And that's because that physiology still isn't optimized. Mentally, emotionally, you're there, you want to stay there. But unless your physiology isn't in concert with that, it's still going to be that dance, that battle.
Would this stop relapses, or would it cut relapses down?
Absolutely.
Does it, I should say.
Down. Because
Okay.
I can't tell you the amount of people that we see. I've been to rehab X amount of times, and sometimes you're like, wow, what this person has been through and didn't know anything like this existed yet.
Yeah.
Add this part to it, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I feel completely different. Again, you don't know until you're on the other side of it that everybody is not feeling like you are.
Yeah. And Beth, you're in the mental health field of everything. And how many times did we see somebody come in, right, relapse over and over and over in the substance abuse side and say, it's got to be his mental health now. He doesn't belong here at my treatment center. He belongs over at, the mental health facility, because it's not the substance abuse. He knows how to stay off of it, but there's something stopping him or her from doing that. I mean, is this a perfect
and it's so interesting because I've harped on this for the last 5 years, which is you have to get sober and then you need to start to address what got you there. Whether it was trauma induced, it was medication induced, right? Most of the opiate epidemic is started with a prescription. Is it trauma induced? Is it genetically just who you are? And all of that cannot be solved anywhere other than a mental health professional. Not substance, mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so do you see that now without the relapses, we send them to the mental health professional or to you, and then we get it, we get that kind of situated and they're much happier and healthier?
Absolutely. Even use the, ADD, ADHD kind of thing to it. If that's still going on, and although somebody's sober, life's still a struggle. We get that part of it where it should be, and everything's operating optimally.
Absolutely. We have a question. Cole would love for you to come speak at an event up in Massachusetts. Okay. Just go to her website and email her. Yeah.
Cole, send the information. We'll see if we can do it. We do a lot of speaking. I was in even globally, Abu Dhabi last year.
Wow.
Like everywhere, and it's still we're out there as much as we can possibly be. We
get the word out.
Yeah, just came back from New Orleans, next week in Indianapolis, May in Hawaii, June in Connecticut. So maybe we can wrap something in when we're in Connecticut to do Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's right there.
Well, first of all, you're gonna have to get the clearance through me now that I'm your boss.
But I need those days off, Ed?
Yeah, you're gonna have to put in a request. Go on the website and request the days off, and I'll see what I can do.
I love it.
But here, okay, so let's shift gears. We're gonna end up here. I think we got all the information that we want. Please go to the doc's website and get that information. Call her, email her, whatever it is. And this is amazing stuff. But I want to shift gears to your TED Talk, right? I mean, how cool is that? We have a TED Talk person on our show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you have to go through to just get on a TED Talk. Yeah. I guess like time wise, you have to be kind of right in a space, a sweet spot. You have to have good content. It has to make sense from beginning to end. Can you go a little bit into that? I mean, I'm fascinated about that.
Sure. So. It was probably more of an undertaking than I knew.
What I usually hear.
Had I known that going into it. An interesting story. I started it out by, being the doctor, and it was like, here's our statistics and all this kind of stuff. And the people at TED were like trashing me. No, it's got to be real. It's got to be real. They're like, you use this. It was Uncle Ed. I use this example of Uncle Ed. He goes to Thanksgiving. Everybody's like, oh, he's a good guy. By the time he leaves the house, he can't speak. He can't walk, and that's like the talk of our family tree and how this affects it. So they're like, well, can you talk more about Uncle Ed? And I'm like, there is no Uncle Ed. I said, my situation is this, my husband, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, say that. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Wow.
I'm like, I have an adult daughter. I need to talk to her first, if she's cool with this. And I said, and then I'll let you guys know. And then I did totally change the whole talk. And it only came out a few months ago, and it had like 1,000 views in like 2 months or something like,
Wow.
but what they're like, you have no idea the amount of people that you're going to help, because it is so real.
Yeah.
And it's like, the science part of it I do in this much, because nobody can sit there and listen to it. It's hard to listen to. It's like, what the heck are you talking about? But when you make it why this even happened to begin with, and how the domino effect of the amount of people that are affected by addiction, and how it's everywhere. And no one wakes up one day saying, hey, today's the day I'm going to be an addict.
Yeah.
It's like in our lives, we're healthy and we're sick. And we're always going towards one side of that in everything that we do.
The fear or the love, right?
That's what I wanted to bring it back to. It was like when you said that, I'm like, that's our life. That's our health. How do you want to play it in fear and love? And we still have conscious decisions to make every day, but we can bring ourselves closer to the part that we want to live in.
And then one last question before we close here. So your husband is in recovery, I take it? And
he's deceased.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. He died in his 40s.
Okay. Oh, wow. So is this something you use with your family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's always a good backer,
Which was how I even started in the addiction segue 35 years ago, was now I have a child. Why do I need to know?
Exactly. Yeah. Now you have to.
Yeah, the person that I love on the face of this earth, I'm just going to say, hey, good luck with it. Like, let's figure it out, and let's be armed with the information. However you want to play out your life, we all have a choice, but let's have that information. Yeah.
And information is key, especially in this world today, and to getting us where we need to be. Beth, I think the doc has the passion like you and I do, and most people in this field, but from the scientific piece, I've never seen somebody scientifically have the passion like you have. It's just amazing. And granted, people invent things, Edison with the light bulb, we probably wanted to make it so we can see, but there is passion behind this, and it's amazing, because you're gonna change people's lives with this, or you're changing people's lives with this.
Changing people's lives with this. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then we change one life, and then that person gets to do it in their world, and that's how we do it, right?
The ripple effect. And everybody says, if I can only change one life, I do my job. But if we change one life, you're changing a hell of a lot more than just one life.
Exactly.
You get that ripple effect into the rest of the generation of that person. It's just amazing. So, well, Evelyn, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Please go to the website. What is it again?
Wired for Addiction.
wiredforaddiction.com. Get all the information that Evelyn has. Oh, one other thing, are you going to plan on putting this in different states or anything, or is this just be
we're already in different facilities in a couple different states, Florida, Texas, Hawaii, North Carolina. That's off the top of my head.
Okay.
But yeah. And like I said, we treat people globally. So we have people come to us. We had, even during COVID, it was hard to get labs out to different countries. Patient come from Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So you're international now. So go to the website. TED Talk can be found under what again?
Evelyn Higgins, Understanding Biomarkers of Addiction.
Okay. And you'll see some amazing stuff there. And Evelyn, thank you so much for enlightening us on the not so fun side of recovery, but the not the understanding side of recovery, just the side that really needs to be addressed. Let's cut some of this crap out and let's get right to the chase. Basically, that's what it is, and so I'll be contacting you, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Perfect. But I love it.
But please, guys, contact Evelyn, and if anything else you guys need, just email the show. We'll get some information out to her. Beth, any last words before we go?
No, just this is very interesting information. I'm really excited for it to grow because it's important. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Pleasure for being on with you, and a lot of fun too.
Yeah, thanks. She didn't hit the end button.
Yeah, she hit the end button.
Now, boom.
Yeah. Well, guys, that is it for us, and stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.